Hello, boys. Well, the summer has come. Have you got your reading journey planned yet? No? Then why don't you watch some of your schoolmates sharing for some inspiration?
As you can see from my glasses, I'm a bookworm. I started reading when I was 2 years old, and I read independently when I was in K2.
Why do I like reading? I believe my desire to read has been copied from my mother's reading habits since I was born. She believes that it is important to cultivate a good and lifelong reading habit and to master English as a second language.
I read everything, everywhere, and all the time. When I mean I'm reading everything, I mean everything. I read from storybooks, newspapers, to board game instructions, restaurant menus, movie subtitles, and many other weird and wacky things that I read.
See, I was also reading the novel The Lost Symbol written by Dan Brown when I was waiting for taking the graduation photos.
I'm just finishing the end of the 78 Story Treehouse. So, when it's almost time for me to sleep, I tend to read more relaxing stories, such as fairy tales or fictional stories.
I started to read Harry Potter during P2 and finished it in approximately 1.5 years. Then I started Percy Jackson at P3 middle term and I finished it in approximately half a year.
Tintin is an exciting and fun book about a reporter and his dog Snowy from Belgian cartoonist Georges Remy. His books were translated into 52 languages.
So, this book is so heavy. It talks about so many things. It talks about dog species. It talks about the breed. It talks about how to take care of them.
What do I read? As I said, I mainly read comedy books. For example, this book, The Boy in the Dress by David Williams. It is about a boy who wants to wear a dress.
Do you know this book? This is Lord of the Rings, written by J.R.R. Tolkien. It is a very thick fiction book, about 1,083 pages. It's one of my favorite books.
I read different kinds of books. I will read fiction or I will read some poetry books. I will talk about fiction first. I'm currently reading The Red Period from the Kane Chronicles series.
I have a special love for medieval fantasy. The first fantasy book I read was Percy Jackson, a mythical fantasy. But still, after reading books like Aragon or other stuff, I fell in love for medieval fantasy.
I love fantasy and adventurous stories, such as the series of Harry Potter, The Magic Tree House, and Hero Mice.
Time travel stories. Although the plots of all time travel stories are complex and difficult to understand, it is always fun to read.
These are the genres of books that I like to read: history, historical fiction, novels, sci-fi, suspense, and comedy.
This is the book. I love it a lot. The series is written by David Williams. Let's look at the cover first. The title is The World's Worst Children. By the title and the picture, you can already know it's excellent.
I highly recommend books from the author Andrew Clements. My favorite book from him is called Lunch Money. The main character Greg learns how to make money at school by selling comics he created himself.
I really love to read English fictions and travel books. I like travel books because they can bring me around the world.
To start off, I need to find a good place to read. This should preferably be somewhere quiet, without any distractions. Sometimes I read comfortably on my sofa, just like now.
I usually read in my spare time and when I am traveling on the train. It takes me 20 minutes to travel from my home to the school by train. So, I have 40 minutes to read every day on the train.
So my reading habits are I read whenever I feel like it, and usually I play music and
while I'm reading, I drink a beverage like hot milk or something.
Usually, I read while lying on the couch and it helps me relax. Personally, I don't jot notes or do anything else while reading. I just enjoy the book and let the words flow into my head.
Well, it's pretty simple. I always bring a book with me, and I read whenever I get bored. For example, when I'm taking the railway to get back to home from school, I really want to put this time in good use, so I read a book.
So, I usually choose a book by its content. I would check to see if it has a sample book, or look at what kind of book it is and the comments on the back of the book.
This is my favorite thickness. I don't need too much time to finish it, but can get a great sense of accomplishment.
What makes a book excellent? Well, everything makes a book excellent. I mean, the book's contents, the book's structure. Does it interest you? Does it have moral? Does it engage with you? If it has all these necessary ingredients, in my belief, that is a truly excellent book.
I have 3 bookshelves and 1 bed shelf and over 300 books. That is because when I like a book that is in a series, I would like to have the whole series.
If the first 2 chapters are full of these really long sentences with these really cool big adjectives and connected with multiple phrases, tons of conjunctions, the entire book is likely to be the same. So that's how I would choose my book.
So the sort of book that I like, let's start on fantasy books, because they are really intriguing and overwhelming, and they will surely overwhelm you, right? Like I mentioned before. And I think it really has to have a good plot in order to impress you, and you really will feel satisfied. And in my opinion, these are all the good books.
When I go to the bookshop, the first thing I'll see to choose a book is its basically cover and back.
How do I choose a book? I generally choose a book by what series it is from, like the Harry Potter series or the Percy Jackson series.
I hope students could have good reading habits so that they could learn more vocabulary, information, and morals.
In my opinion, books are excellent because for fiction books, I like how the author describes the main characters and what they do, which is just what we need to learn when we write. And for non-fiction books, I learn the wonderful knowledge and I get to know more about the world.
Personally, I seldom read comics because I think that they are less educational. However, if we read novels, we will have the opportunity to improve our writing skills and also have a wider range of vocabulary.
When we feel bored when we are reading the book, we can scan the QR code in this book and listen to the story. So we can learn the pronunciation of the words.
The e-book can store 150 books. Let's see this book. You can't see the definition of the words that you don't know. See.
Well, digital is always around us, everywhere, every day. So you should have no excuse to have no books to read. When you have a mobile phone on your hands, try to replace other forms of entertainment by reading ebooks on your phone. And you will slowly find out that you have read a number of books surprisingly.
I personally prefer reading real books to ebooks, as my eyes will easily get tired after using electronic devices.
I want to make a suggestion to teachers. I suggest teachers to buy some books from David Williams. His books are not only humorous, but are written in British style, and that's a very great choice for kids under 10 years old.
In order to improve my English, I try to read more and more English. Whenever I read an interesting article, I will try to recite it.
How I get the most information from that. So what I do is try to genuinely just scan the words. And I try to think about what they mean and why the writer wrote them. What you shouldn't do is read it randomly. Do not skip from page to page. Otherwise, you will not understand it good enough to give it a good summary.
When I'm reading magazines or not books, I would write the meaning here. And for books, I would just write the meaning beside the word which I don't know.
Let me tell you a secret. When I was a little boy, like 3 to 4 years old, my mom tried to put the books anywhere inside my house so I can see them and grab them easily.
I have a whole lot of books in my home, and they come from different sources. Most of the books are bought with money in the second-hand bookstore.
And I also like finding new authors because, well, you never know. I'm not a publisher or anything, but I still like to, I don't want to use this, but spot talent.
If you see a really complicated word or learn a complicated word, at least this is what I do. You don't have to do this, but this is like my suggestion. A really difficult word. You really want to use it. You want to show people that you know this word and like you're smart. Don't overuse it. It'll make you look like a dum-dum, okay?
After reading, I usually write short stories. It is not necessarily to do it frequently. Just do it when your brain is full of ideas. But if you think rewriting gives you too much pressure, you may write comics, draw pictures, or even create a quiz. The goal is to enjoy and have fun. Just do whatever you like. Reading should be fun and relaxing. All in all, reading is a process of discovery and enjoyment. When you embark on a journey of reading, do not aim to complete a library full of books. Start small and keep going. I'm sure you will get a fruitful game of reading in no time. Let's start reading now. Thank you.
Yes, I'll get back to my reading now. Enjoy your summer and enjoy your reading. I'll talk to you later again. Bye bye.